Well, hello and welcome to the program tonight. So glad to have you with us. We're reviewing, if you watched the last 2 weeks, you know we're reviewing our earlier programs so I can go back and re-edit them a little bit and bring them up to what I was doing toward the end of the series. And tonight we're going to replay program number 3. And this was a special program for me because it was the one where I gave my testimony. And it was a bit emotional for me. It was hard for me to get through that segment because I'm just so grateful to God every day of my life that I was the prodigal son that found his way home. And he provided, I look back now, I didn't know what was happening as each thing happened, but he provided a pathway for me to come back home. My daddy was a Baptist preacher and I was the prodigal son. But I won't tell too much of it because I get more into detail in the program. But this was a special program for me, and I just sort of laid my heart out there on the line, and you'll get to see that again. But anyway, this is program number 3, and here again it was done before Christmas, so there'll be a Christmas song in there, more Christmas in March. But I hope you enjoy it. This was program number 3 in our Friday Night Sing-Along series. Well, hello, and welcome to our program tonight. I think this is program number 3 already. This first song that we're going to do tonight is written by a lady named Paula Stefanovic. Paula got her first song published when she was 15 years old. And she went on to become a singer and a speaker and a worship leader and prolific songwriter. And this first song we're going to do, she wrote. And she won the Diamond Award for Song of the Year in 2005 with it in the gospel world. And the year before, it had been a big hit by a group called the Hoppers. And what caused me to come to do this song, I had not heard the song, and this has been years ago now, but a lady came in to record an album, and she was using some tracks that she had. And this one track was of this song. And when I heard it, my jaw just dropped. I mean, the arrangement was incredible. With the horns and the strings, and it was just gorgeous. And my music, you've seen it. It sort of has a bluegrass tinge to it, or a country tinge, a little country rock now and then, but nothing of an orchestrated nature. Not that I can't do that or don't want to do that. I just, for whatever reason, when I arrange a song, I just play what comes to me, you know, and I use whatever combination. I don't use any standard set of instruments, you know. I just, whatever I feel to play, I play. But anyway, I'm always up for a challenge, and I thought, you know, I wonder if I can do this song, because I know I'm not going to have the money to buy an orchestra or a horn section or anything like that. So I thought, I'm just going to give this a shot and see what happens. You know, nobody ever has to hear it if it doesn't work out. So I started working on it, and it took me a couple of months. I tried this and I tried that and found some synthesizer settings that kind of worked. And so it started coming together, and it started sounding better and better. And I thought, well, you know, maybe there's a chance here. And so I did the vocals on it, and I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll just put it out there and see what people think. And but anyway, it's a song called Jerusalem. And for those of you that play instruments, it's in the key of B. Now, B is kind of an orphan key. You know, most people either do it in C or they'll do it in B flat. But in this instance, it moves from B and modulates to C toward the end. So that might be the reason it's in the key of B. But anyway, key of B, my version of Jerusalem.
John saw a city that could not be hid. John saw the city, oh yes he did. John caught a glimpse of the golden throne. Tell me all about it. Go right on around the throne. He saw a crystal sea. There's got to be more. What will it be? I want to go to that city he saw, New Jerusalem. Jerusalem, I want to walk your streets that are golden, and I want to run where the angels have trod. Jerusalem, I want to rest on the banks of your river, in that city, city of God. John saw the lion laid down by the lamb. I want to know everything about that land. John saw the day, but he did not see night. The Lamb of God, well, it must be the light. He saw the saints worship the great I am, crying, worthy, worthy is the Lamb. I want to go to that city he saw, New Jerusalem. Jerusalem, I want to walk your streets that are golden, and I want to run where the angels have trod. Jerusalem, I want to rest on the banks of your river, in that city, city of God. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, sing, for the night is o'er. Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna forever, forevermore. Jerusalem, I want to walk your streets that are golden, and I want to run where the angels have trod. Jerusalem, I want to rest on the banks of your river, in that city, city of God.
For those of you who enjoy these great old gospel songs, I've put together a complete collection of all 6 of my gospel albums on 3 CDs. Most of the songs we'll be doing on the Friday Night Sing-Along are contained in this collection. There are 2 complete albums on each CD, and this collection also contains a book with the words and the chord changes I use to play each of the 62 songs. Perfect for those that like to sing and play along. Just go to our website, www.birdyeomans.com, and click the My Music Store tab, and this special offer will be at the top of the page. You can also email us directly if you prefer, and that address is linda@birdyeomans.com. You'll also find my individual CDs as well as DVDs of the Friday Night Sing-Along episodes. Now let's get back to some of that great old-time gospel music. I just thought I'd pop in, and I know it looks like a wardrobe change from the rest of the program, but what this is I'm inserting a brand new song for you tonight. We've been replaying the earliest shows the last couple of weeks, and we're in the middle of program 3 here, but this wasn't in program 3 originally. It's a brand new song that will be on the new album. I was listening to some YouTube stuff not long ago, and I heard somebody do this song, and it reminded me about it. It's an old Don Williams song, and I know a lot of us have challenges. I'm starting to have a few, not bad yet. Thank you, Lord. But I back in the summer, I had a bit of an infection that sort of threw me, because I'm just not used to getting sick. I mean, for the longest time, I never got sick. And then a couple of weeks ago, I had something like the flu. I don't know if it was COVID or the flu or whatever, but I haven't really talked to you since then. Most of all of the stuff the last couple of weeks was recorded from earlier shows. And this is the first chance I've really had to talk to you. And I haven't given up completely the idea of not doing some new shows here and there. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi to you, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a great 2022 and are largely staying well. But this song is just kind of asking the Lord to help us have a good day, And when I heard the song, I'm going, you know what? I need to do that song. And it gives you, it's kind of a prayer to God. Lord, I hope this day is good. So I hope you enjoy this. This is my version. I haven't played this for you before. And old Don Williams song is called Lord, I Hope This Day Is Good. Lord, I hope this day is good. I'm feeling empty and misunderstood. I should be thankful, Lord, I know I should. But Lord, I hope this day is good. Lord, have you forgotten me? I've been praying to you faithfully. I'm not saying I'm a righteous man, but Lord, I hope you understand. I don't need fortune and I don't need fame. Send down the thunder, Lord, send down the rain. But when you're planning just how it will be, plan a good day for me. Lord, I hope this day is good. I'm feeling empty and misunderstood. I should be thankful, Lord, I know I should. But Lord, I hope this day is good.
be hard for the devil to do, but it would be easy for you. Lord, I hope this day is good. I'm feeling empty and misunderstood. I should be thankful, Lord, I know I should. But Lord, I hope this day is good. Lord, I hope this day is good. I'm feeling empty and misunderstood. I should be thankful, Lord, I know I should. But Lord, I hope this day is good. Lord, I hope this day is good. Yes, Lord, I hope this day is good.
Oh, Jerusalem, what a song. We sort of jumped right into it tonight. I haven't done much talking, but I've got some coming up. I told you in my first episode that I would tell you some things about my life and how I got to this point. But first of all, let's do one more song. Somebody said last week, do another Christmas song. And since this is the last program before Christmas, I thought I would do this song for you. It was a song that was written in 1719, if I remember my date correct, by Isaac Watts. And back then, it was not uncommon for Isaac wrote the words, and he would say, okay, this is in certain meter, and so you could make it fit a number of melodies that fit that meter or that rhythm or that chord progression or whatever. So the melodies were not exactly what we have today. And along about 1848, a guy named Lowell Mason wrote the melody that we have today. And it's said that Lowell was he was the president of the Boston Handel Haydn Society. And so some people see, in fact, he even credited Handel's Antioch as being his inspiration for this. And there are certain segments in it that come from Handel's Messiah as well. And some of today's scholars say that it really wasn't that. But I find it a bit ironic that he knew all of Handel's work so well and even credited it to Handel. So I'm thinking he did have some influence from Handel in the way this song turned out. And this song is probably, into the 20th century, was the most published song in North America. Bing Crosby did a version, Mannheim Steamroller did a version, Johnny Cash did a version, Pat Boone. This is another one of those songs that so many people have done. Pentatonics, a newer group. But anyway, a lot of people have done this song. But this is my version of Joy to the World. For those of you that are playing along, it's in the key of A.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love.
Well, I guess you noticed I jumped right into it tonight, and I tried not to do a lot of talking on the first three songs. But I told you a couple of weeks ago I'd tell you some stuff about my life. So tonight, I've picked tonight to sort of give you my testimony and tell you how I got to here. This album right here will always mean the world to me, because it was my first gospel album. And the way this came to be, well, my daddy was a preacher, and I was the prodigal son, and I played, I guess, at most of the bars on this side of the Mississippi for the first 20 years of my life. And then my bands got to where they were good enough to begin to play some better, concerts and that type of stuff. But nonetheless, I was no stranger to the bar scene, and I thought of myself as the prodigal son all that time. And being raised on God and the Bible, God was always by my side. I was always talking to him. I called it communing with him, and most of the time I was arguing with him. But he was always in the buddy seat. But at some point in my life, when this started to happen, he got to where he was in the driver's seat. Made all the difference in the world in my life. What happened, I had been playing in bands all my time in the music business. And it got to the point, I'd been playing keyboard, bass, and keyboards in my last bands for maybe 10 or 15 years. So it was like driving a stick shift. You just didn't think about it. You just could play bass and keys at the same time, And I could sing. And they came up with a drum machine that sounded like real drums. So I bought one, and I got to where I could sound like a little trio by myself. I didn't have to have backing tracks or anything like that. I could play, and I could freeform with it. So I called my agent and I told her, I said, I've just had enough of the band business, and my band the last band had just broken up, and it was just I knew it was the time to do it. I had been working on this, but I didn't want to break my band up. But since it did break up, I thought this is the time to do it. And so I had talked to them when I got home from the last band job, which was on a weekend. And so 2 days later, on a Tuesday, my agent called and she says, "Bird, there's a seafood restaurant out in Conyers, Georgia, that needs somebody tonight. Somebody just canceled on them." And it was 4 o'clock, and I lived in Smyrna, which was at least 2 hours away. I told her, I said, "Kay, I can't get there by 6 o'clock because they started early since it was a piano bar." And she said, "Well, they're not going to have anybody if you don't go." She said, "Just go out there and talk to the guy, and maybe y'all can work it out for the rest of the week." And so I thought, well, be a 2-week engagement. I was used to playing rock and roll and country and that kind of stuff. And my idea of doing a single was to have it where I had my big PA and, sound like a little trio up big so that it was like a bar situation. I never thought about a piano bar. That was just not something I would think to do. But I'm going, well, I need rent. So let's go play this thing. We'll get 2 weeks out of it, maybe. So I go out there, and she told me, she said, "You don't even have to take your equipment. He's got a piano and he's got a house PA." And I thought, oh my gosh, most of the time back then, now house PAs can be quite good, but back then I'm going, oh my, well, but there again, just go do it and let's see what we can work out. So I got out there and we got through the first night. It was okay, but anyway, I brought a little bit better stuff the next night. I had time to work. I knew what I needed then. So I brought a little bit bigger PA. I didn't bring my big PA, but I just a piece of it, and had my bass and keyboard. And that engagement turned into a 7-year engagement. Well, now, okay, so I'm sitting there and I'm going, for the first time in my life, I had a few dollars left at the end of the week. I'm going, okay, let's open a studio. I had some little basic equipment, but usually I'd set it up in my bedroom and I'd just sort of mess with it. I didn't do anything on a professional level with it because it wasn't professional equipment, not really. I mean, you could record with it, but anyway, so I set this up and went to the bank, and since I had a steady job now, or what looked like a steady job, I was able to talk somebody into loaning me enough money to buy a decent board for the studio and what I needed to really be able to record there. So after a little while, 6 months or so, I'm thinking, I think I'll record Mom and Daddy a little album just as a thank you for them putting up with me. I know they were never for me playing bars. Daddy being a preacher, that wasn't what he was going to advise me to do by any means, But so of course, Daddy being a preacher, I picked out gospel songs, right? Sweet by and by, When We All Get to Heaven, Mansion Over the Hilltop, How Beautiful Heaven Must Be, that sort of song. Little I realized that God was in this. He was leading me, and I didn't know this at the time. I wasn't thinking like this. But anyway, when I started to record the vocals on those songs, I would step up to the microphone and I would get choked up. I would get emotional, and I'm going, Lord, are you messing with me? Are you, what is this? And I'm, for the first time, I'm playing a place where I've got a little money left at the end of the week, and now you're wanting me to do gospel music, aren't you? How am I going to make a living? Well, anyway, this communing went on for a while, and as I sat there night after night after night playing, and I'm seeing the faces, and I'm realizing I'm the cheerleader that gets them to buy too many drinks and drive home in an unsafe condition, and Lord knows who they might wind up going home with, and what kind of relationship that might turn. I mean, all this stuff was going through my mind. I'm going, I'm feeding these people the wrong stuff. I want to do this music where they don't wake up with a headache in the morning. They don't wake up with the wrong person in the morning. They don't, see what I'm saying? I mean, this started bothering me. Well, anyway, after a while, this job ended, and I took another one with a friend. We played a place for a couple of years, and it's really starting to get to me now. I mean, it's just, I'm knowing I need to be doing gospel music somewhere or another. But without me going into too long a detail, a friend of mine had started playing Walmarts and selling little cassettes that he was making himself from a cassette player. Didn't even have a picture on the front, it was just, they would write the songs on there, and he finally started, the way I found out about it, he started having me do his duplications because he couldn't make them fast enough and write, so I could do duplications at the studio. So next thing I know, he's ordering 100 cassettes every couple of months or so, and I'm thinking, wow, I wonder, and for whatever reason, I had re-recorded those songs I had done for Mom and Daddy. My equipment had gotten a lot better, and I had gotten better at being able to do it. So I had the 8 songs redone. I needed 2 more songs to have a 10-song album. Well, it turns out that the place I was playing with my friend, that place got sold, and we got a 2-week notice. And I came home and I told my wife, Linda was one of the good things that happened to me at Crab and Claw. I met her, and we got married, and she was a sales lady, and she kept telling me, she said, baby, I can sell you, I can book you. And so I came home, and I said, babe, if he's playing Walmart, why don't we do this? Let me make up a few copies of this, and we'll make it look like put a picture on it, and that kind of stuff, and book me in a Walmart, and let's just see what happens. So I went to a Vidalia Walmart in Georgia, and we sold 22 tapes that day, first day. And I called her, I said, babe, this is the door. This is the door I've been praying for. God just opened a door. And we played Walmarts for the next 4 years. And sure enough, my wife could book me. I mean, I was never, we worked all the time. And so the next thing you know, the studio we got to moved up all of our equipment to state of the art in the studio, and I wound up cutting 6 gospel albums during that period of time before my memory started finally playing tricks on me after about 10 years. And by that time, I had moved to using, since I was recording my albums, I was using the tracks from the album to sing to and play to. And we had started doing some little concerts in Florida, but the memory thing, I started having anxiety problems. And because I wasn't sure of my words anymore. I'd never had this problem before, but I was getting to be 65 years old. So finally we had to retire from the touring, and I took some time off. But anyway, this is the album that changed my life. God will use you if you let him. And so I'm sitting here at 75, and I might get emotional trying to tell this. All you young people, don't waste your time like I did for the first 25 years. And all of you folks that are older, it's never too late. I did not really find myself until my early 50s. But I had been looking for a long time. Like I said, he was in my buddy seat. But when I finally put him in the driver's seat, it's been a great ride. Thank you, God. And now I'm supposed to play you a couple of songs off of this. I'm supposed to tell like I said the other day, my religion's a happy religion. I know what the prodigal son felt like when he got home. Okay, let me see if I can get myself together here. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay, I can do this. My granny's favorite song, or one of them anyway, was Mansion Over the Hilltop. So for that very reason, that was one of the songs that I picked for that first album, because that first little cassette, I figured there'd be 2 cassettes, one for Mom and Daddy, one for her, and I'd keep one just for reference. I never dreamed this would happen. But it did, and I thank God for it every day. But Ira Stanfill was one of the great songwriters, wrote a lot of gospel songs. And he was in a meeting in Dallas, Texas one night, and a businessman was speaking. And the businessman told this story. He said, I was out, he said, my business was sort of going bad. He said, I was all depressed and worried. And so I decided to take a ride one day. He goes out, and he gets off the beaten path pretty far, and winds up on a little dirt road. And he said he came upon this little girl, and she was standing beside the road, and she had a little doll that was just sort of tattered and not much to it, and said the house was kind of run down. And here he was feeling all depressed, a successful businessman, but he was just suffering a little loss here and there, but he had plenty. He just was struggling at the moment, you know. But here she was with hardly anything, and she's so happy just standing beside the road. And he says, sweetie, how can you be so happy when you have so little? And she said, because my daddy just came into some money, and he's building us a mansion over that hilltop. And Ira said he went home with that on his mind. He said he woke up the next morning and he wrote this song. And so I'm going to do you my version of it tonight. It's called, I've Got a Mansion Just Over the Hilltop.
I'm satisfied with just a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. But in that city where the ransomed will shine, I want a gold one, that silver line. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Though often tempted, tormented and tested, and like the prophet, my pillow was stone. And though I find here no permanent dwelling, I know He'll give me a mansion my own. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. Deserted or lonely, I'm not discouraged, I'm heaven bound. I'm just a pilgrim in search of a city. I want a mansion, a harp and a crown. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop, in that bright land where we'll never grow old. And someday yonder we will never more wander, but walk the streets that are purest gold.
All right. I did finally get that segment done. I tried doing that segment about 3 or 4 times, and I got so emotional the first 3 times. There was no way to use that. And even the 4th time, I'm just telling you, I'm just so thankful and grateful to God that He finally led me home. Gospel music has been the joy of my life. Those 10 or 15 years that I was traveling singing gospel music, that was the best time of my performing life. Now is the best time of my life because I get to do this again. I mean, again, I'm 75 years old, and I'm getting to do this for y'all every week. And I have a great little studio that I'm able to record music and make my videos to put on YouTube. I never saw YouTube coming. I never saw gospel music coming. But God knew it. He was preparing me for that. I had no way of knowing that, but I'm thankful to Him every day. And anyway, for our last song tonight, I I had hesitated to try to tell my testimony because I knew it was going to be an emotional thing, but we did get it done. But anyway, Fillmore Bennett and Joseph Webster in the 1860s wrote one of the most popular gospel songs of all time. It's somewhere up there with Amazing Grace. But anyway, Fillmore Bennett owned a store of some sort, and Joseph Webster was kind of a friend of his, and they would write some music together from time to time. But Webster was subject to some moodiness and bouts of melancholy and what have you. So Bennett said he walked in one day and he said he'd gotten to know him well enough. He knew he was in a bad mood or a funky mood or whatever you want to call it. And he says, Webster, what's the matter now? He says, never mind, it'll all be better by and by. And Bennett said he looked over and he said, Sweet By and By. That would be a good song, wouldn't it? And Webster told him, yeah, I suppose so. And he said he turned around and he said as fast as he could write it, he wrote the words out. And he said he handed it over to Webster, and Webster looked at it and said all of a sudden he started smiling and he started writing down the notes and everything. And he picked up his fiddle and he said within 30 minutes they were singing in the Sweet By and By. So we're going to do in the Sweet By and By for you tonight. For those of you who want to play along, it's in the key of E.
There's a land that is brighter than day, and by faith we can see it afar. For the Father waits over the way to prepare us a dwelling place there. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. By and by, in the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall sing on that beautiful shore the melodious songs of the blessed, and our spirits shall sorrow no more. Not a sigh for the blessing of rest. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. By and by, in the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. Our bountiful Father above, we will offer our tribute of praise for the glorious gift of His love and the blessings that hallow our days. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. By and by, in the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. By and by, in the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Well, that's our program for tonight, but don't forget, go to our website, birdyeomans.com, and you can find all my CDs there, and you'll find the Friday Night Sing-Along special there. And if I don't have it up by now, I will quickly get up. Last week, Linda mentioned some of my double CDs. I'll have to tell you how that came about one of these days. But at any rate, if they're not there, email her, linda@birdyeomans.com, and she'll be able to help you with those. But hopefully they'll be up on the website by now. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've enjoyed it, and we will see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock.
Life is easy when you're up on the mountain and you've got peace of mind like you've never known. But when things change and you're down in the valley, don't lose faith, for you are never alone. And the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. The God of the day is still God in the night. We talk of faith when we're up on the mountain. Talk comes easy when life's at its best, but in the valley of trials and temptation, that's when faith is really put to the test. And the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. God of the day is still God in the night. Yes, the God on the mountain is still God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good times is still God in the bad times. God in the night. Yes, the God of the day is still God in the night.